The first anomaly appeared on Dr. Elena Rodriguez's quantum interference detector at 3:47 a.m. on a quiet Tuesday morning. Most of her colleagues at the Deep Space Observatory had already gone home, leaving her alone with the soft hum of equipment and the endless stream of data from the cosmos. The interference pattern was unlike anything she'd seen before, a subtle distortion in the quantum field that shouldn't exist naturally. Elena rubbed her tired eyes and ran the analysis again. The pattern persisted, becoming clearer with each scan. It wasn't random noise. It was a signal. More precisely, it was the echo of a sophisticated cloaking technology trying to bend space-time around multiple large objects in Earth's orbit. She reached for her secure phone, hesitated for a moment, then dialed the number she'd memorized but hoped never to use. Within 30 minutes, the observatory's parking lot filled with unmarked vehicles, and General Marcus Chen of the newly formed Stellar Defense Initiative stepped into her office. "Show me everything," he said quietly, his expression grave as Elena pulled up the data. She noticed his hands were trembling slightly, the only sign betraying his calm exterior. "They're watching us," Elena explained, pointing to the gravitational distortions on her screen. "At least 30 ships, possibly more, all using some form of quantum camouflage. They're good, incredibly good, but they didn't account for how their technology would interact with our quantum detection grid." The quantum detection grid, a global network of sensors disguised as astronomical research equipment, had been Elena's brainchild. 3 years of secret development, funded by a coalition of world governments preparing for exactly this scenario. Many had called her paranoid. Now she wished she had been. "How long?" the general asked. "Based on the degradation patterns in the quantum field, they've been there for at least 6 months. They're studying us, General. The question is why." Before Chen could respond, Elena's computer chimed. New data scrolled across her screen, and her heart sank. "Sir, I'm detecting transmission bursts. They're not just observing anymore. They're actively scanning our infrastructure, our defense systems, our power grids. They're preparing for invasion." Chen finished her thought. "Classic military reconnaissance." Elena nodded slowly, then smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. It was the kind of smile that had preceded humanity's greatest moments of defiance. "Yes, but they don't know that we can see them. And that's our advantage." Over the next few hours, as the sun rose over the observatory, Elena and Chen developed the framework for Operation Blind Eye. The plan was audacious, perhaps even insane, but it played to humanity's greatest strength, the ability to act in perfect concert when faced with extinction. The world's governments would need to cooperate on an unprecedented scale. Every visible sign of technological advancement would need to continue as normal, or rather, as expected by an alien race that clearly viewed them as primitive. But beneath this carefully maintained facade, humanity would prepare. "We'll need to develop countermeasures without testing them openly," Elena said, already calculating the mathematical models they'd need. "Everything has to be done in simulation first, then constructed in secret." Chen was already making calls. "I know some people who've been designing theoretical weapon systems for this exact scenario. Area 51 isn't what everyone thinks it is. It's better." Elena raised an eyebrow. "You mean?" "Yes, Doctor. Those conspiracy theories about hidden underground bases. We leaked those stories ourselves. Makes it easier to hide the real ones." As the morning wore on, more specialists arrived at the observatory. Quantum physicists, military strategists, and communication experts all gathered in Elena's lab, now transformed into humanity's first line of defense against an alien threat. They watched through Elena's quantum sensors as the alien ships continued their surveillance, oblivious to the fact that their targets were watching back. Occasionally, a ship would shift position, its movement creating ripples in the quantum field that Elena's equipment detected with perfect clarity. "They think they're invisible," Elena mused, tracking another ship's movement. "They think they're gods looking down at ants. But you know what?" She turned to the room full of Earth's brightest minds, all united in purpose. Ants have brought down empires before. As the first day of humanity's greatest deception drew to a close, Alina found herself staring at the evening sky. Somewhere up there, the Nexarians watched, believing themselves masters of deception. They had no idea that their targets had already adapted, had already begun to turn their own technology against them. Humanity had always been at its best when underestimated. Now, they would prove it on a galactic scale. The game was on, and for once, Earth had the first move. The sprawling underground complex beneath the Atacama Desert hummed with activity. 6 months had passed since Dr. Rodriguez's discovery, and humanity's response had been nothing short of extraordinary. Dr. Kai Patel stood before a massive holographic display, watching as his latest simulation ran its course. The artificial gravity, he'd designed, collapsed exactly as predicted, creating a localized disruption that could theoretically disable Nexarian quantum drives. "How are we looking?" asked Dr. Rodriguez, stepping into the lab. She'd lost weight over the past months, the stress of coordinating humanity's scientific response evident in the dark circles under her eyes. "The math works," Kai replied, manipulating the hologram with practiced gestures. "We can create gravitational distortions that match the frequency of their quantum field technology. The challenge is power. We need something stronger than anything we've built before." Alina nodded, pulling up her own data on a nearby screen. "That's where Project Helios comes in. Take a look at this." The display showed a massive structure taking shape in an abandoned mine shaft in Antarctica. Kai recognized it immediately. The world's first antimatter reactor, built in absolute secrecy. Traditional nuclear fusion would never generate enough power for their defensive systems. They needed something revolutionary. Above them, the Nexarians continued their surveillance, their ships still cloaked in what they believed was perfect invisibility. They watched as humans went about their daily lives, as commercial satellites launched carrying what appeared to be communication equipment, as defense systems remained frustratingly primitive by their standards. What they couldn't see was the network of quantum sensors expanding across the globe, hidden in plain sight as wildlife tracking devices, weather monitoring stations, and civilian research projects. Every movement they made was now being logged, analyzed, and used to understand their technology better. In a secured facility beneath Tokyo, Dr. Yuki Tanaka had made another breakthrough. Her team had successfully replicated the quantum camouflage technology using data from Alina's sensors. The prototype was crude by Nexarian standards, but it worked. More importantly, it proved that humanity could adapt and improve upon alien technology without ever having direct access to it. Their biggest mistake, Yuki explained during a global conference call, was assuming that quantum mechanics works the same way for them as it does for us. They never considered that evolution on Earth might have given us a fundamentally different understanding of reality. The implications were staggering. Humanity wasn't just copying Nexarian technology. They were developed. Dr. Rodriguez spent countless nights in her observatory, watching the Nexarian ships through her quantum sensors. She noticed patterns in their movement, predicted their behaviors, and shared her insights with the global defense network. Each piece of data, each observation, became another weapon in humanity's growing arsenal. "They think time is on their side," she told Kai during a rare moment of rest. "They think every day they spend studying us makes them more prepared. They don't realize." Supreme Commander Vextal watched in growing horror as his invasion force was systematically dismantled. His ships, the pride of the Nexarian fleet, were being disabled not by brute force, but by weapons that seemed to ignore the laws of physics as his species understood them. "How?" he demanded over the command channel. "How did they hide all of this?" The answer came from Dr. Rodriguez herself, broadcasting on frequencies the Nexarians thought were secure. "We didn't hide our technology, Commander. We hid our understanding. Every time you thought you were watching us fail to grasp advanced concepts, you were actually watching us learn how to defeat them." The true genius of humanity's deception became clear as the battle progressed. Those primitive defense exercises have been actual combat training. The failed experiments in quantum physics had produced working theories that led to new weapons. Even the academic papers discussing the impossibility of certain technologies had been carefully crafted misinformation. As his ships retreated in disarray, Vextol received one final transmission from Earth. It showed Dr. Rodriguez standing in her observatory, the same place where she had first detected their presence. "Next time," she said calmly, "try asking for permission before entering someone's solar system. We might surprise you with our hospitality as much as we surprise you with our ingenuity." The Nexarian invasion, planned for years and expected to last mere hours, had failed in less than a day. But perhaps more importantly, it had demonstrated something fundamental about humanity. Their greatest weapon wasn't their technology or their deception, but their ability to unite and innovate in ways that no other species had predicted. As the last Nexarian ships fled the solar system, humanity began to reveal its true face to the galaxy. Hidden facilities opened their doors, secret technologies were brought into the light, and Earth prepared to take its place among the stars, not as conquered servants, but as equals who had earned their position through ingenuity and determination. In the aftermath of Earth's successful defense, humanity wasted no time. Within hours of the Nexarian retreat, Operation Starbridge launched into action. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood aboard the ETS Prometheus, Earth's first true interstellar vessel, watching as the quantum drive spun up to full power. The ship, along with its sister vessels, had been built in secret beneath the Pacific Ocean, waiting for this moment. "All systems are go," reported Captain Maya Singh, her hands dancing across the quantum interface controls. "The improved drive is performing better than simulations predicted. We're ready to make history." The Prometheus led a fleet of 50 ships, each incorporating technology that merged human innovation with reverse-engineered Nexarian principles. But unlike the retreating alien vessels, these ships utilized quantum mechanics in ways the Nexarians had never imagined possible. Dr. Kai Patel's voice came through the quantum comm system, clear despite the vast distance from his control center on Earth. "The gravitational corridor is stable. You have a clean path through the quantum foam. Show them what humanity can really do." The human fleet jumped into quantum space, but not using the established routes the Nexarians had mapped over centuries. Instead, they traveled through corridors of twisted spacetime that Earth's scientists had discovered during their year of secret preparation. These paths, invisible to conventional Nexarian sensors, allowed them to move faster and more efficiently than anyone thought possible. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Dr. Yuki Tanaka coordinated with the Global Defense Network as it transformed into something new. "The nanite shield isn't just defensive anymore," she explained to the United Earth Council. "We're reprogramming it to serve as a quantum communications array. We'll be able to maintain real-time contact with our fleet anywhere in the galaxy." The Nexarians, retreating to their nearest major colony, found themselves pursued by an enemy they had gravely underestimated. Supreme Commander Vextol watched in disbelief as human ships emerged from quantum space using routes his navigators insisted couldn't exist. "They're not just copying our technology," his science officer reported, panic evident in his voice. "They're rewriting the rules we thought were fundamental to the universe." The human fleet didn't attack the Nexarian colony. Instead, they surrounded it, using their gravity manipulation technology to create a containment field that the Nexarians couldn't penetrate. Then, they broadcast a message that would change the course of galactic history. "This is Dr. Elena Rodriguez of Earth." The transmission began. "We have demonstrated our ability to defend ourselves and to project power beyond our solar system. Now we would like to demonstrate something else, our capacity for diplomacy." The offer that followed was unexpected. Earth proposed a technological exchange program, but not the one-sided exploitation the Nexarians had planned. Instead, humanity offered to share their unique insights into quantum mechanics, gravity manipulation, and consciousness technology integration. "Your understanding of quantum mechanics is impressive, Elena continued, "but it's limited by your singular perspective. We've discovered that the universe is far more complex and far more interesting than either of our species initially believed." To prove their point, the Prometheus demonstrated a new form of quantum communication that didn't rely on traditional subspace channels. The technology, developed by combining human theoretical physics with Nexarian engineering principles, allowed for instant communication across any distance without the possibility of interception. Captain Singh coordinated with the fleet as they established a perimeter around Nexarian space. "We're not here to conquer," she broadcast to the colony. "We're here to prove that humanity deserves a place at the galactic table, not as subjects, but as equals." The impact of humanity's technological leap reverberated through the galaxy. Other spacefaring races, monitoring the situation, found themselves reevaluating their assumptions about primitive species. The human approach to physics and technology demonstrated that there wasn't just one path to the stars. There were countless ways to understand and manipulate the universe. Dr. Patel's voice came through again on the quantum comm. "The other Nexarian fleet elements are changing course. They're not mobilizing for war. They're coming to talk." Elena smiled as she watched the tactical display. Humanity had done more than just defend itself. It had changed the rules of engagement for the entire galaxy. The quantum drives, the gravity manipulation, the nanotechnology. All of it demonstrated that innovation didn't follow a linear path. As representatives from the Nexarian High Command approached under a flag of truce, Elena prepared for the next phase of human expansion into the cosmos. They had proved they could fight if necessary, but now they would prove something far more important: that humanity's greatest strength wasn't its ability to wage war, but its capacity to imagine and create new possibilities for peaceful coexistence. 1 year after the failed invasion, the Grand Chamber of the newly constructed Galactic Cooperation Center in Geneva buzzed with activity. Representatives from 27 spacefaring civilizations gathered to witness something unprecedented: the signing of the Terran Accords. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood at the podium, facing an audience that included both former enemies and new allies. A year ago, the Nexarians came to Earth expecting to find a primitive civilization ready for conquest. She began, her voice carrying across the chamber. Instead, they found something that changed their understanding of the universe, and ours. Supreme Commander Vextal, now serving as the Nexarian ambassador to Earth, nodded in agreement. The past year had transformed him from a military leader certain of his species' superiority into a humble student of humanity's innovative approach to science and civilization. In orbit above Earth, the combined fleet of human and alien vessels demonstrated the fruits of cooperation. Dr. Kai Patel's gravity manipulation technology had been merged with Nexarian quantum engineering, creating ships that could navigate space in ways previously thought impossible. Each vessel represented a fusion of multiple civilizations' technologies and philosophies. The quantum universe isn't just about technology, Dr. Yuki Tanaka explained to a group of alien scientists. It's about perspective. Each species perceives and interacts with reality in slightly different ways. When we combine these perspectives, we discover new possibilities that none of us could have imagined alone. The Terran Accords went far beyond traditional peace treaties or trade agreements. They established a new framework for galactic cooperation, one based on the principle that diversity of thought and approach was not just beneficial but essential for advancement. Earth's successful defense had proved that different paths of development could lead to equal or superior results. Captain Maya Singh, now Admiral of Earth's growing interstellar fleet, supervised as human crews trained alongside alien counterparts. "We're not just teaching them our technology," she reported to the United Earth Council. "We're learning how their societies solved problems we haven't even encountered yet. Every day brings new breakthroughs." The nanite defense shield that had protected Earth during the invasion had evolved into a galaxy-spanning network for sharing knowledge and resources. Dr. Rodriguez's team had adapted it to serve as a universal translation system, allowing instant communication and understanding between all member species. General Chen, watching from his position as Earth's security coordinator, reflected on how completely their success had transformed humanity's place in the cosmos. "We didn't just earn our place among the stars," he told his staff. "We changed how the galaxy thinks about advancement and cooperation." The greatest change was perhaps in the Nexarians themselves. Their rigid hierarchy had given way to a more flexible approach, inspired by humanity's adaptability. Young Nexarians now eagerly sought positions in joint research projects, bringing their species' methodical precision to complement human creativity. "The true power of humanity," Vextal addressed the assembly, "isn't in their technology or their deception. It's in their ability to imagine possibilities that our more established civilizations had dismissed as impossible. They showed us that the path to advancement isn't linear. It's as varied as the species who seek it." The Galactic Cooperation Center itself stood as a testament to this new philosophy. Built using principles from a dozen different civilizations, it could adapt its architecture in real time to accommodate the needs of any species. The quantum-enhanced structure demonstrated how different approaches to physics and engineering could work in harmony. Dr. Rodriguez concluded her address by unveiling humanity's most ambitious project yet, the Infinite Horizon Initiative. "We propose a galaxy-wide effort to explore not just new spaces, but new ways of thinking," she announced. "Every species brings unique insights. Together, we can unlock mysteries none of us could solve alone." As the assembled representatives signed the accords, a new era of galactic civilization began. The failed invasion of Earth had led not to conquest or destruction, but to a fundamental shift in how spacefaring species interacted and developed. In her observatory, where she had first detected the Nexarian ships, Alina watched the night sky with new eyes. The stars no longer represented distant mysteries to be solved, but rather billions of possibilities waiting to be explored together. Humanity had not just survived its trial by fire, it had transformed the very nature of galactic society. In the end, she wrote in her personal log, "The Nexarians gave us an invaluable gift. By underestimating humanity, they forced us to prove not just our worth, but our potential to change the universe itself. We showed them, and ourselves, that the greatest adventures come not from conquering others, but from learning to see through their eyes while never losing sight of our own unique perspective." The story of humanity's rise from a seemingly primitive civilization to a catalyst for galactic cooperation would be told for generations to come. It served as a reminder that true strength lies not in technological superiority or military might, but in the ability to adapt, innovate, and imagine new possibilities for all.